This is my persuasive speech, and it will be on child beauty pageants. First, I would like to talk about a little bit of the history of beauty pageants. It's been around since about the 1920s. It's very famous. Everyone knows it. Everyone watches Miss America, or everyone claims to watch Miss America. Child beauty pageants have been around since around the 1960s. They have become very popular throughout the days, and it's all about little girls showing off their talents and their looks. You know, how they dress, their facial and body features, and the things that they can do, and all this other stuff. You have the swimsuit competitions. You have the formal wear competitions. So it's a lot that children go through, but it's become very popular. They even have a TV show on it now called Toddlers and Tiaras. So yeah, um, child beauty pageants are very endangering to the children that are participating in them. It is very common for a lot of the children to have a lot of health problems, physical health, emotional health, psychological health, along those lines. A lot of the physical health issues that come up are, you know, they wear a lot of makeup in these competitions, and that can be very dangerous to your skin. Even older women know that makeup can be very harmful against the skin. So just imagine, what it can do to a little baby's face, a little toddler. It causes craters. Makeup causes craters. It causes blackheads and acne and all this other stuff too that you can just get from wearing too much makeup. And if anyone has ever seen any of these beauty pageants or pictures of these beauty pageants, it is kicked up there. You almost look like a whole new person, a Barbie doll of your actual self. So it's actually quite crazy. They get tans, which can also be very harmful to the skin. Whether you're naturally tanning with the sun, which I hope not, or spray tanning. Naturally tanning can cause skin cancer, as we all know. This is why we put sunscreen on every day. And spray tanning could just be some of the chemicals in it can cause rashes. It can cause a lot of different reactions with the product that you're using. And these girls go through it every single time they have to compete. They go and get a new spray tan and make sure that the skin looks all nice and even because they have to look perfect. It also includes waxing eyebrows and plucking eyebrows and putting on false eyelashes. And there's a picture that should be up where you see everything that goes on with these little girls. They have false teeth, they have false eyelashes, they pluck their eyebrows, they get them waxed, which is very, very painful, especially for a 2-year-old little girl. So I just think that beauty pageants can be very harmful to a girl's health and that it should be regulated. Another part of the physical health that everyone knows about is the fact that it portrays such a perfect body image that you're supposed to have. And that's not healthy for girls, especially young girls, because when you start out in these pageants, you don't really know what to expect of life. And if you are portraying to these girls that you're supposed to be perfect and you're supposed to look this way to be perfect, you're supposed to be thin, supposed to be tan, supposed to have long hair. They also have long extensions that some women even get sewn into their daughters' heads, which can also be painful. But the main thing is body image, because you are supposed to have this perfect body, which can be very harmful because girls will start judging themselves and others, which will make others judge themselves on how they look. You will want to be thinner, and this can lead to eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia. All of these things can be a product of a beauty pageant because they're trying to be perfect, and what's perfect now is, or what's always been perfect, is to be thin. And I think that if you're not teaching your children that you that you're perfect the way that you are, whether or not you're thin or what, then if they're learning it through these activities, then this is all that they see, and this is all that they know. They don't know that you can be perfect in any shape or size. They just know that thin is perfect, and which causes women to grow up with eating disorders. By a study by Hammond that I found very interesting, she and her co-partner um, um, did a case study on about 131 pageant contestants, and one fourth of them, which is over one fourth of them, which is about 26% of the females, suffer from an eating disorder, which is quite sad because that is just way too many. It's way too much. And about 48% of them reported wanting to be thinner than they are. No matter how thin that they were, they wanted to be thinner than what they are. And 57% of them reported trying to lose weight. So whatever cause that is, either it's healthy losing weight, exercising and all that stuff, but it can also be through eating disorders, making yourself throw up the food that you just eating, or starving yourself to try and fit this persona. So that is not healthy at all, and to teach girls that at a young age is very discouraging. It can also be a very big emotional health problem. A lot of females suffer from depression, from everything. And pageants is just one of those things that help, that enable this depression, because whether or not you're on the inside or the outside, you're watching these perfect girls, whether or not you're a loser or a winner, you're watching these perfect girls, and the pressure to be perfect, the pressure to do all these things, the pressure to be great, to look beautiful, and to be talented can really tear down a person's emotional and mental state, which is very, very just not healthy at all. About 6% of contestants reported suffering from depression, from a study done by Women's News. That's not enough percent that it should worry people, that beauty pageants can cause such a emotional distress like that. Not distress, emotional stress like that. Nobody should be suffering from depression, especially from an activity that is supposed to be fun and help girls be mature and disciplined and competitive and have patience. That's what the opposition of this argument all claim, that beauty pageants help, with patience and discipline, and they also give scholarships for schools, which is all great, but you also have to look at the negative aspects which come from it, and it's not a pretty sight. These aren't things that you can just brush off and be like, oh, they'll get over one day. A lot of interpersonal relationships are also ruined by the constant pressure to be perfect. Because when you have this constant pressure to be perfect by your parents, your coaches, and these judges that people are just looking on you and judging you, you judge others after that. I've seen many videos of little girls who are in these pageants, and they don't have sportsman-like attitudes toward each other. They're very unsportsmanlike, and it's it's not okay. No little girl should be going around discouraging others and telling them that they're not pretty and they're not good enough to, just to have this crown. It's just, it's not right. And a lot of the girls also have really bad tempers. They storm out in these temper tantrums and they yell at people, whether or not it's their mom, coaches, other little girls. They're just very hurtful and very demeaning to other people and themselves. And it's something that should be looked at and it should be stopped, because it's not an okay thing to do. And a lot of the girls have reported insecurities. I remember looking at this one video, and she was talking. There was this girl. She's been in pageants all her life, is what she can remember, and she reports, like, just having so many insecurities, not being able to be herself with her friends, because she feels like when she goes out with her friends that she has to have the salad instead of the hamburger, not being able to enjoy like the natural pleasures of life, being a child, running around having fun and playing, not worrying about how she looks and how she feels and what she's eating and what her friends think of her, and judging other people around her. It was a very sad story to listen to. So a lot of these beauty pageant stories are like that. I know that Miss America is a big example of women who come from different backgrounds, and they chose to run for Miss America to help people like them, like disabilities and other things like that. And that's really inspiring, but there are also very negative aspects that come along with living this lifestyle, and that's one that people like to brush underneath the rug and just save that for another day, which I don't think needs to happen. One story that I really, really want to talk about is the story of Joan Bennett Ramsey. She was a little girl, pageant queen, and she was 6 years old, and she was murdered. And it's actually quite sad, because the man who kidnapped her, or was arrested for having involvement with her murder, with her death, he expressed his love for this young girl. He says, "I loved Ramsey, and I just loved her so much, and I want the world to know that her death was an accident." But it just goes to show that the obsession that can come with this constant pressuring and constant showcasing of these little girls can be very, very, very dangerous. Mothers out there, they're putting their daughters in such an impeccable position that it is sad, because you're showcasing your daughters, you're sexualizing them in ways that they should not be sexualized. You are letting the world into your life and letting them see your precious, precious little girls in ways that they shouldn't be seen. It is really sad, because this girl died because a man had an obsession with her. She was kidnapped, and there was actually a ransom note found at the crime scene, and they were going to be ransoming her off for, I think it was around $131,000, and it's all because this family let the world in to their lives and let these people see their daughter in ways that nobody should see their daughter. And I think that it's just really sad that things like that actually happen and can happen to anyone, because there are people out there that are watching these that you don't want to be watching them. Pedophiles and other people just people of not sound mind have access to these videos of your daughters flaunting in these short dresses and dancing all over the place, wearing all this makeup. And even though random girls that aren't participating in pageants get kidnapped and ransomed and raped and murdered, too, is still the fact that you are allowing someone into your life on such a huge level. You're basically telling these people it's okay for you to look at my daughter in this way. And nobody, no little girl should be looked at in the ways that some of these girls are looked at nowadays. It is honestly quite terrifying. And I honestly believe that the solution to this problem is just that if we are going to have pageants, because pageants are such a big part of American history, and I understand that they can be highly motivational, and they can provide some good things about them, but if we're going to have pageants, they need to be limited to an age. I think at the age of 16, you are able to make your own decisions, and I think that to participate in such a competitive and possibly dangerous activity requires that the contestant should be able to choose whether or not they want to be in it, because some of these girls don't even want to be in the pageants. They just do it because their mom said so. Their mom said that this is cool, that this is what you should do, this is perfect for you, and that's not okay. Kids should live and be kids. They need to be teenagers, they need to be toddlers, they need to be infants, they need to live a normal, healthy lifestyle. And then if they decide to go down this path, they can, because it'll be ultimately their decision. And no matter, these things can still happen to 16-year-olds and older, but at that time you're able to make your own decisions, and you're able to take the precautions that you need to, and really think about if this is something that you really want. So I just think that it is something that it needs to be regulated, and it can be easy to come to a conclusion. And if you don't ban all pageants, toddler pageants and infant pageants and whatnot, they should definitely be banned. And the rest of the pageants should also have rules set in place where this sort of sexualization isn't going to happen. Thank you.